Hello and welcome to the Tech Lunch Podcast, where we encourage our listeners to learn something new about tech every week. This can range from learning about new and exciting applications to the advancements in coding and technology. If you are always learning, you will always be a step above the rest. Take the time during lunch or during a break to listen and learn, kind of like a lunch and learn, but for the ears. This podcast will open the listener's ears to new and exciting technologies they may have not been purview to in the past. These topics will range from manufacturing technologies to data collection technologies and everything in between. Hello, I'm Nick.
Hey, I'm John.
And, we don't have Ed this week, but, we're in that time of year where, people are visiting families and stuff like that. And, we want to, start this week off by, saying thank you and, hopefully your end of the year is going good. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the 1,000 listens, and hopefully we keep climbing. We keep adding more and more people to the Tech at Lunch family, and keep climbing for the stars, keep learning more, and keep enjoying learn a new topic. Which brings me to this week's topic. You hear us talk about 3D printing. Hopefully we're getting people excited about it and getting people into it. But I know we've already done an episode of what is firmware, or firmware, I guess you could say, where we kind of discuss some of the firmware options that were out there for 3D printers. But like this week, we kind of want to go into one that we've kind of used. John's got a little bit more experience with it now that we're kind of into this realm of possibilities and more room for activities.
Yep.
But what it is, it's like we're talking about what is Klipper, and that's kind of what is it, at this standpoint, Yeah. So, what do you what do you see it as?
So if I had to explain in layman's terms to someone that didn't know much about 3D printing what Klipper is, the basics, what I would say is that it takes the wear and tear, or the processing wear and tear on the motherboard that comes with the printer, and puts it on not necessarily a Raspberry Pi. In most cases it's built for a Raspberry Pi, but puts it on another type of computing source that is built for computing, right? Because when you look at these 3D printers, and it just comes with trying to get these things to the masses, is you need to lower the price, and what ends up happening is that your motherboard takes a bit of an axe, and it's a little bit more bare bones than it should.
Yeah.
It can run the processes, but it's not going to run more. You can't build on those things. You can't
go as fast.
Yeah, and that's a big thing, speed. Like when you're thinking 3D printing, you're not thinking like, okay, I hit print on this like 2-inch tall like a little statue or miniature, I'll get it in like 6 hours. No, I want it faster than that, right?
Yeah.
And doing Klipper allows for things like that. So if I had to explain to in layman's terms, it takes the wear of the CPU's computing and puts it on an actual computer, and it'll make the life of your printer longer, and it'll make your interface that much easier to digitally connect to.
A little bit more fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun.
We've like if you hear a printer running in the background, you definitely hear in Klipper, working its magic. Because lately that's all I run. So. With that, Klipper is a OS system that runs, like John said, on a Raspberry Pi. However, uses configuration files on the actual device to control it. And Klipper allows you more of ability to control different aspects of the printer, down to the the diodes and the sensors and stuff like that. It lets you control that more. It lets you get more data out of it. It also lets you set up MQTT on board for using like Moonraker and a couple other things. But there's different I guess you could say versions of Klipper out now.
Yep.
You have the one for that what we use. We use
I guess Klipper is more of the same. I mean, all the firmware is going to be changed inevitably to fit your printer, and it's quirks, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But the OS, or the interface between that machine and you, a user, I think that varies a lot. I
like
think
we use Mainsail.
Yeah, Mainsail is the one that's the easiest.
There is a few more out there that people use. If you're already using Octopi or Octoprint, should say, you can make there is a version of Klipper out there for Octoprint to make it easier for people to get involved in. You know, that means also that some of you guys out there that are running big print farms, you can go to Klipper and use Octofarm to control all your devices together in one fell swoop. You know, it makes it easier. It also gives you a little bit more control as you individually tailor the machine to whatever mods you've done to it. You put linear rail on it. Okay, cool. You need to adjust your screw settings for your hot ends or whatever, your height, your size. You adjust the size of the bed. Okay, cool. Let me adjust that real quick. You can change all that inside your CFG file.
Yeah, it's really adaptable. It's really, like we talk about rapid prototyping. This takes it to an extreme almost. Is like I can make these changes actively to what, let's say I have a macro for leveling my bed or calibrating. I can make changes to that to see where those probe points are taken. Like, it gets so customizable on that side of things that, like, you can pick and choose aspects. Is like, do I have a BO touch? I can add a section for my BO touch and change the pins and things like that say it's connected. I could rewire my BO touch, and as long as I rewrote my code in my CFG file on Klipper, it'll still work. Yeah. So it's a thing. It's also beautiful because the trial and error that I experience with Klipper is so much it's so much quicker that the error happens and you'll read an error as via a log or a pop-up, and you can respond to that much quicker than if I ran my printer on Marlin and like came back to a failed print.
Yeah.
Like,
at least you know what's happening.
Yeah, at least I know it's happening. Like, yes, you can get a webcam with Octoprint with a lot of these others, but having the webcam to visualize, that's a big game changer for me.
And if you think about it, Klipper also gives us the ability to interface with spaghetti detection.
Yes.
AI and stuff like that. That's running on the Raspberry Pi, ironically.
Made a lot of spaghetti in my day.
Yeah. Just don't add sauce to it, and you don't have any poof. But it's like, Klipper is also not a application that comes pre-installed on most printers. It is open source. It is done by the community. However, I think Ender is now adding it to the tab that they came out with, a little screen thing they got to plug into. That's Klipper now. And then some of the Delta printers have Klipper on board, coming from the factory.
See, that makes sense to me, because again, we talk about this printer firmware CFG file. We talked about firmware. I wouldn't even call Klipper a firmware. I would call Klipper a host for the firmware. Yeah, because that printer CFG file, that's our firmware that we have.
Yep.
And it's reading that INI, or no, it's reading it similar to what an INI file would look like, a configuration file would look like. And it's because Mainsail or Fluid or whatever you choose to use, Klipper was created with Python scripts.
Yep.
And you're utilizing those Python scripts.
And you can modify it. You can make your own version of Klipper if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
It's up to you. You can do MQTT. You can do email alerts. You can send alerts to Discord.
Yeah.
You can send them everywhere.
Hell, you want to have 17 cameras connected? You could do that too.
Yeah, it's not a big plan. You can have 4 on one each corner and really monitor your printer.
Mm-hmm.
You can have multiple heat sensors, and it's going to allow you to do that. It's going to allow you to show it up on the front end too. Yeah. And it also gives you the API keys that you can really dig in depth and play with it.
Yeah, hell, you get an API key. You can create your own API. Now, that's not easy. It's not the most difficult thing in the world, but you gotta understand a little bit about kind of what's going on.
Right.
So you're gonna have to dig deeper just to get to like that easy connection. But at the end of the day, you can connect a lot of different applications with an API.
Yeah, exactly.
And especially in the circumstance of Mainsail or Klipper, like the first thing that comes to mind is can I remote in from my phone?
Yeah, right.
and with an API, absolutely.
Yep, as long as you're not on Windows, on iPhone.
Yeah, that's true. Well, no, there's some people that are using the APIs on iPhone.
Yeah, it just depends on what app you're using.
Yeah, I looked it up. There is someone that's like developing. He calls it like mobile sale or mobile raker or something similar like that.
Like what they have on Android.
Yeah, and it does use an API. It's not as clean. It definitely looks like it needs a little bit of work. But like at the end of the day, it connects to my printer, shows my webcam, and it allows me to make some changes or cancel if I have a failure. And that's the whole reason that I wanted it was to be able to stop it remotely, so that I don't come home to the whole print is wasted filament as opposed to half the print is wasted filament.
Right, and the thing is as long as it's secure, then it really doesn't matter. As long as it's come over SSL or SSH.
Yeah.
Then you're okay. But that's another wonderful adaptation to Klipper, which I'm going to play with very, very soon. I haven't got the time to play with it yet. Yeah. Is the fact that I can tie an SSO, Keycloak, to the Klipper, the mainsail instance, and actually SSO and actually secure my printers with Keycloak.
Get some authentication.
And have authentication. You have radius authentication, depending on if you're doing radius, or have it tied to your domain controller, or even do local authentication services.
Shit, what if I have an RFID tag?
Yeah, technically you could do that too.
Yeah, and it just validates like that.
Yeah, with
or an RSA token or something.
With Keycloak you can set all that up. That's something that we'll have to talk about a different day. Is kind of get into securing and stuff like that.
We can get deep into another rabbit hole.
But the thing is it shows that we're finally taking some sort of security, finally, in the grand scheme of things, for these 3D printers.
Yeah.
It's finally, somebody is able to say, hey, guess what? I'm securing this. I don't want to deal with this anymore. We need to protect this.
Yeah.
And, finally it's time. Somebody's finally stepping up and saying, it's go time for this. So let's make sure this works. Yeah. But the thing is that that's also telling me, I don't know if you feel it the same way, but is that Klipper is becoming ready for commercial use, for commercial printers.
Oh yeah. Just the other day when I was showing my brother, who is, I'm gonna be honest with you, he's against not having a knob to adjust or pause or make changes, and I can understand the want to stick with a manual or physical ability or anything like that to stop the printer to make the changes, but like, to be honest with you, that button should be and can be virtualized and in a lot of cases automated. So that's I was gonna say that's my next goal is how do I monitor and keep track of my printer with Klipper and mainsail, and how do I automate that?
Right.
You got MQTT. I can get my notifications if I've got an error, if I've got an alert or something doesn't parse or something like that. It'll kick off a, hey, we got a fault. Production has stopped. And I tell you what, people, I would freak the fuck out. Excuse my friends. I'd freak out if I heard my production has stopped, right? And that would make me make a change, make me make an update, or make me address something with that printer. And I don't get that same usability or I guess value like added. Yeah, I don't get that out of the standard firmware.
No, definitely not. The standard firmware is so, it's good for what it is. I think I changed over from Marlin to Klipper pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Mainly because I'm a nerd and I learned I can't keep things well enough alone.
Yeah.
So, and like we've said before on this podcast, and we've said it on the YouTube before, we will break things fast and quickly.
Yeah.
And we'll try new things. So I wanted to say, okay, cool, let me try it, see what happens. Yeah, it shut my printer down for a couple days. While I figured out what I did wrong.
Had to reset and get back to where you were.
Had to reset multiple times. It did not like the CR touch when I first started it. Had to figure that out. That's another thing you get to do. If you go to Klipper, you get to learn to do a lot of troubleshooting. Why do things not work? It's probably because that period or that slash that you put in there that's not supposed to be there.
Yeah, it's your firmware.
Yeah,
I can tell you it's somewhere in the firmware.
Or the space that you put where there's not supposed to be a space.
Yeah, exactly.
Uncomment out line 34. So because for some reason every time there's an error, it's line 34.
Yeah, I wish they would tell you that.
Yeah.
Line. It just, to me, it just says failed. Well, I don't know. It does. It tells me what failed.
Yeah, it tells you where line failed and where it's at. But the thing is that's also when you start to learn. Hey, am I going to use Notepad++ or am I going to use
VS Code?
VS Code or any of the others. Obviously, that's your own flavor. That's what you like to use. Whatever people like to use it. You get to learn SSH and stuff like that if you're dealing with your Raspberry Pi. Yeah. It's a lot of learning stuff. The thing is I really think that Klipper was built for people who enjoy STEM.
Yeah, it's crazy because being able to run Klipper or get to a place where you can run Klipper like we are now, you have to either know or learn so much about, we just talked about OSs and Linux operating systems, because Mainsail and this OS that we're using is a Linux based OS.
Yeah.
So like you not only do you need to learn how, unless you gave it a GUI image, which in a lot of these cases it's a preset file you're pulling down from Raspberry. File. Yeah, it's preset for you, so it's not doing it's going to be command line interface. Then you're gonna have some trouble getting into like files, or let's say saving, like doing your make menu config, where you're setting up what your serial port is from your printer or from your motherboard to your Pi. You need to set up something for that, and you need to be able to use Linux. So you're learning all of these pieces to get to the end goal of wanting to do the automation for that. And then you're realizing, like in my case, I realized that a lot of the stuff that I was doing to figure out why my printer wasn't working is stuff that people do in their actual jobs with actual machines like this, and making a machine work on a different type of computer, making a machine read a different type of image. Like, yes, it won't always work, but I tried Raspberry Pi on my Orange Pi. I tried the Mainsail image on my Orange Pi. It did not work, so I had to get a different Debian image. But that's the thing, is like, you're trying stuff, you're learning stuff. You're like, I've learned so much about Linux operating systems just by trying to get my Klipper to work.
If you don't break it, you ain't trying. It's like, the thing is Klipper is a very IT centric.
Yes.
Not OS. I can't say OS. Firmware.
Yeah.
Ish.
It does so much more than just firmware, though. Like, that's
right.
It's so much more, like Crow's Nest and Moonraker and things like.
Yeah.
It's
it's one of those things. It's not an easy thing to do, but it's also something that you need to keep up to date with, and it will also improve the quality of your prints by tenfold.
It will.
It'll make it run so much faster, so much smoother. It'll control your steppers just that much better. It's also good for other type of printers, like we have coming out. Like, for example, the Vorons, the Voron R2.
It's a guilty pleasure of ours.
the Voron 0.1, the switch wires and stuff like that. Those printers out there, they need to run on a Klipper. You need to have that control of what that printer does at all times.
Yeah, they were built for Klipper.
And it's like, sometimes I think that, like I'm running the Ender 5, I think on occasion that was built for Klipper for a while, because it's the type of, gantry it is. Mm-hmm. It's built to run Klipper. It's built to be Core X wide. It's built for what's next.
Yeah.
And it will be getting a Core XY system eventually on that one.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it'd be very far.
No, I found a kit for it, to be honest with you, that I'd pop 4 bolts, I yank the top off, and I would reload those gantry parts back onto it, and it's done.
Okay.
Then going to Klipper, set it as a Core XY. It's no longer an Ender anymore, and let it rip. The only thing Ender about it would be the bed at that point.
The little name tag there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so okay. I mean, that's pretty cool. But like the fact that you can do that, the fact that you get that customization, the customability, or whatever, is solely off of Klipper.
Yep.
And the fact that it's open source and anyone can use it. It's beautiful. It builds off of. I think it built off of Marlin 2. Which Marlin 2 was built off of RepRap. Like, so all of these things build on top of each other. Someone just started writing some codes and some scripts in Python and was like, hey, some of the stuff you're doing manually by hand over here, you can have your machine work for you that much harder and get it done that much quicker. And
it's also supported by Super Slicer.
Yes. And Super Slicer, I'm going to be honest, I used Prusa Slicer before. It's Prusa Slicer just upgraded.
Yeah, exactly.
Gives you more features.
And you need to set it for the Klipper, firmware, so it knows what it's doing.
Yeah. So it knows what's going on. And yeah, all things considered, if you have a 3D printer and you have had it for a while and you don't consider Klipper at any point, then you're selling yourself short.
It's like, the thing is, if you think about it, going into this, into 2023 and stuff like that, we're dealing with the fact that, there's people out there who have older Ender 3s, the regular Ender 3, like what I got over in the other room,
right,
running on Marlin 0.1 or 0.2 because they haven't upgraded yet because we're in the CR
first set, yeah.
But you can upgrade that printer, an old printer, resurrect it from the dead, and run Klipper on it. I can tell you, I had the Ender 3 that I got in the other room for less than 3 hours, and it had Klipper on it already.
Yeah.
By the time that PC, or by the time that printer arrived in the mail, I had a Raspberry Pi configured and ready to go to plug in and make the change, and it was done.
Yeah, because you're not
at first boot.
You're not waiting. You need to work with Klipper. You need your base.
Right.
Yeah.
So any printer that comes in within my possession is getting Klipper installed. And it's not because it's familiarity with it. Yeah. It's the fact that I can customize it to do what I want to do when I want to do it.
It's easily become my preferred install.
The thing is, if you think about it, like. The other thing that I also was getting at is the fact that you can resurrect old printers, old printers that probably
not just that
would be
old
dead.
PCs too.
Right, old PCs, they're great for that. They don't require that much RAM, so you can recycle. You can recycle old printers. You can recycle this stuff. Get back into the hobby and get back in it. Get back to enjoying it. And the thing is also don't be afraid to make changes. Fork Klipper, and don't commit back to master. Fork it, and then in GitHub, and make your changes, make what you want to do to it. And if you see any issues with it, make a comment. There's stuff out there in Reddit and Discord and all this stuff with Klipper that talk to the people who are using it.
Yeah, they're using it every day, just like me and Nick are.
Right.
So Nick, if you had to pick a feature of Klipper, or I guess that you're using in mainsail, or it could be like a feature in the firmware or macro, whatever. What's your favorite? What does it do, and why is it your favorite? That's a hard one.
Yeah, very.
There's a lot of add-ons that you could do, a lot of features that get added.
Yeah, and I got a lot of them installed too.
Yeah, you got more than I do. I got to pick a couple.
Mainly because I'm a glutton for punishment. I like to choose my own.
Yeah,
and do my own thing. Right now, probably one of the things that you don't realize you use the most is a height map.
Yeah, that was going to be my pick.
To say, well, the thing is, I say a height map because when I run the height map option, I also run the bed angle tilt command. And what that does, this is actually my favorite one. The height map is something that you can't live without.
Yes.
However, what I really enjoy is the fact that I can do a bed tilt measurement on my bed, on my printer, and it will tell me how many turns I have to adjust my knobs and which direction I gotta go.
It's pretty smart.
And it will level my bed for me.
It's pretty useful.
And, I'll say that's probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
But also...
It's a good one.
This one that's slowly close behind it is... what is it? The fact that you can install... what is it? Pretty
G-code or
Pretty G-code.
Okay.
On a Klipper.
Yeah.
And you can get to it that way.
Yeah.
Is a nice one, but it's not something I would use routinely. So
then, what would you like to see added?
Ooh.
That's a hard one. Because like,
well, I'll let you
if
touch
you don't
on
know
which one. I'll think of something while you think of the one that's your favorite and why you use it.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. The height map is the one that I use the most. Like seriously, but thinking about it, you're absolutely right. It's a necessity. It's not a maybe. Should I? It's an absolute.
But you don't know you need it until
you don't know until
you have it in Klipper.
Until you look at it and you're like, man, my bed is not level. Oh wait, that's within 2.2 millimeter. Oh, that's pretty level.
Yeah. So just watch out for that rabbit hole. You'll be down that damn thing.
Yeah, you're never gonna make it fully flat. There's no way. But no, yeah. If I had to pick, it's that. I mean, not only that, maybe no, because webcam is just as important. I guess it doesn't come with the heat map normally though. You don't have a leveler on with Klipper just standard. You have to add it. So I mean, honestly, it's hard for me to choose because that's what I would like. The spinning on it's
like the macros and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't use a lot of the macros that I have, like bed calibrate. That's the same thing as bed mesh for me right now. Yeah. Bed tilt, the same you're using right now. I'm not using that too much. I have a locked in
that's
offset.
That's where mine's setting that now too. So
I have a locked in offset because it doesn't change too much now. But yeah, no. If I had to see something that's added, this is something that I need to do more research on. Is those extra features that are there because I can start adding them into my own. And this is why it's so beautiful, is because you can customize your own firmware by adding sections from that other people are putting out and saying, hey, try this. You can see if it works. It'll tell you if it doesn't like it. But yeah, the piece that I would like is no, they've probably already got like collision or not collision detection, but like
spaghetti detection.
So no, there's spaghetti detection, but I'm saying like critical fail resume or that's probably already existing.
Because you can do pause printing. The big thing is you're like what you're getting at. The spaghetti detection is a third party. I wish it was just built in.
Yeah, it would be nice if it was like connected or like some type of like dashboard that I could pull down. Because when I first got into it, I did Octoprint and I saw the dashboard and I saw great value in the dashboard, but it was missing a lot of information, a lot of broken links. And when I went to Klipper, it fixed a lot of those problems. It really took and it covered up some of those numbers that wouldn't translate over like exact print time or even like a thumbnail, that wouldn't come over. And there was something I used that I would like to see on Klipper. It said also pretty G code, but region exclusion.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm printing 4 pieces, right, and my back left corner piece popped off on accident and got pushed off, but the other ones are stuck and perfectly printing. I should be able to tell my printer, hey, this region here where this last piece is, stop printing anything in that piece, or instead of extrude, non-extrusion here, so it stops stop any extrusion or retraction in this places instead. But it stops printing that 4th piece that broke, so that you can finish your rest of your 3, and you just got to come back and finish that 4th print and print it by itself, or you can add it to the rest of the list. But region exclusion, that was something I used on Octopi, so I assume it would kind of be ported over. But if not, that's something that I would like to see.
I think I figured it out, would be notifications. Like, you can do notifications now.
Yeah.
But it's such a pain in the butt
to get it set up.
To set them up. I would like to see it easier. I'd like to see there be a GUI for it, possibly in the front end, which I have no problem adjusting CFG files.
Right.
Do it all the time. However, I would like to see a better way for us to see a better MQTT setup. So we're going to type my broker information there. It'll take it and set it up for, and run that setup for me, instead of having to fight through the 15,000 different CFG files I have to modify, to let that happen. Or if I want to have it sent to my Telegram or something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. It started getting real confusing with the CFGs that overwrote and like saved the date with the name. So I just started offloading and archiving.
Yeah, it's like the other thing I've heard a lot of big problems with Klipper is the fact it is log heavy.
It really does. I had to make space the other day.
So I have a 150 gig
You
hard drive in mine.
Space for weeks.
Well, the thing is with mine, I got 100 gigs left.
Oh wow!
I just was one printer.
Oh wow! Yeah, I had to go back today. I had to go back and delete a lot of files that were saved so that I can keep printing.
Yeah, it's like the other Enders. I know they have a smaller log file. I'll have to set up my Raspberry Pi to save to a external hard disk.
Yeah.
But that's something that we get to work through and stuff like that. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna try to see it inside the code. If there, look in the code and maybe there's a way to lower the amount of logs that it's sending. But it's
got to be.
It's actually, the thing is, I think it's generating logs based on what G code it's writing. So it actually, when it spits the G code out, it will actually say, I'm printing this, I'm printing this, I'm printing this, I'm printing this.
Mm-hmm. Tell you a toolpath.
Right.
So and we talk about it all the time, G code, geometric code. When I say toolpath, that is the actual path geometrically calculated for the hot end. So it's got to move, especially when it does curves. It's got to move in simultaneously in X and Y axes sometimes, and it needs that. It really does.
It's like if you think about it, the other thing that you get with Klipper is the ability to set up multiple printers and tie them all back together.
You kind of touched on it with Octopi and said Octofarm.
Yeah.
But like
Mainsail, you can do a lot of it too.
Yeah, and this is a piece that I was gonna kind of get to here next, is because the customization.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about it, we said you don't necessarily need a Pi. Pi is what it was made. It was made with the Pi in mind.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that it won't work on an Orange Pi or your old gaming PC tower, because like if it takes a Debian Linux image, which we learned pretty much everything, then it'll help run your 3D printer.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is I just, what drives me nuts especially with the multiple printer thing on there, is the fact that I can't send the same G code to all my printers at the same time.
Yeah,
it drives me nuts.
There you go. That's a good one. That's a good one. Like send to all printers at the same time and have them start simultaneously. Yeah, that would be really cool. That would be really cool.
Maybe with the API, you can use your API key to set up each individual printer and send it as a push get.
Yeah, like a script.
As a script. Yeah. You load it in there and say, send it, and it sends it to everything. The thing is, it's like if I'm running a print farm and I need to print the same piece, same piece on these 5 printers, I want to be able to go in there and select my 5 printers I want to send my G code to and let it rip, Tater Chip. And I want to send to all 5 of those printers, and every single one of those printers print the same exact thing.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool, actually. Because, and to be honest with you, something we learned the other day, Power Automate. Yeah. You could probably automate it without a script, because it will take in your mouse clicks and your keystrokes and stuff, and it'll go search these applications and open them for you, and then type in the information. So realistically,
it's known as a keylogger.
Yeah. Realistically, it already exists, and it can send it to all your machines. You just gotta configure it the first time, and then it'll work every time.
But is Power Automate free?
Yeah, Power Automate's free if you've got Windows. So you gotta buy Windows. There you go. So you gotta get Windows. It's not gonna be freeware. It's free if you've got that. But
now, if you do it with a Bash script or a shell script, then or a JavaScript.
That's true.
And then you can build your own Java GUI, and you kind of just drop and go.
And that'll work.
Pick what printers you want it to go to, and you send it.
That'll work in Linuxes and anything like that. You got free, so
Python script. You're running Python.
Python's perfect. Yeah.
So create a GUI for it and send it. But that's stuff that people can work on to better the Klipper community.
Right.
As a whole, there's probably somebody out there dinking with it. That's 5 times smarter than I. And you got these guys who are out there, developing this stuff, that are, the brains behind the operation.
Yeah, the first users, if you will, the ones who created this.
Yeah. Public enemy number one.
Yeah. I mean, they're probably still continuously working on it. I know the team for Octopi was pretty small. Yeah. It's like 1 or 2 guys, and it's tough to be able, like, so many people use this. Yeah. It's tough to be able to offer the support, the updates, the hot fixes, like, some people demand.
Yeah. Like, I see Klipper updates daily.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's impressive. Klipper seems to keep up. And, like, most of the time when I'm having an issue with Klipper, I'm like, oh, this is not connecting. Why is my webcam? I didn't make any changes. Everything's still plugged in. I didn't turn anything off. It's because you need to update. Yeah. Your system has an update. Your config file will update. You forgot to do that update. That's why it's not working.
Like, I'm being bad right now. I got an entire system update I had to do, but I want to print. I want to finish the print first. Yeah. I'm not going to stop at mid-print to...
I mean, print looks like it's coming out fine, so I think it's all right.
Yeah, it's not complaining
yet.
Yeah. Maybe tomorrow it'll complain a little bit.
We'll see.
It's... But, Klipper is one of those things of where it's... you get to go do it and play with it, or you kind of stick with what you like. It's the same thing what we talked about with with operating systems is you're going to pick the one that you enjoy. Some people like Marlin better than they like. There's still some people out there running the old school RepRap. Yeah. And the other one what's the other one you're running?
What was it for a while? Oh no, it was when I got the Easy ABL Pro, I was running Unified 2, which is E3D Online's firmware, which not terrible, not great. Yeah. Now, if you asked me, I still would prefer Marlin over that. But if you asked me overall what I'd choose, it'd be Klipper.
Yeah, and Marlin's less configurable than anything. Yeah. You have to really dig into the code to find which ones you're looking for.
It should be eye-opening to tell that Marlin 1 is a RepRap rewrite, and Marlin technically wasn't official until Marlin 2. Right. So Marlin was technically, some guys are writing this code out of in their free time, and then once Marlin 2 was made official and became Creality's official firmware, it got a little bit more of an overhaul and made more robust. Yeah. But
they finally got a team behind them.
Yeah, but again, it goes back to what you were saying: is the customization, the customability is so much lower now because they're like, you can only do these things. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, for the average user, I just need to make a couple prints. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm not, building for, printing for a business. I'm not printing for utility parts. I'm printing for models and things like that. They're not going to worry about that. Right. But like me and you, I'm making shelves. I'm making brackets. We're making functional parts. You're making a Voron right now. I'm printing the pieces to make that. And I bet you that I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions about how yours works. So, but that's also... It's going to be running Klipper right out of the box. Yeah. This is going to be probably the best printer that I have. I don't know. It's going to be simple. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess it's going to be as good as I put it together.
Mind you, these Vorons take about 80 to 90 hours. If not a little longer to assemble.
I got the baby one though, so maybe like 60 hours.
Maybe. I'm on day 7 now. Yeah. But I took 2 days off over the weekend, mainly because of work, and so I didn't get a chance to work on it. And I took another day off during the week because of work. So kind of moving along. But hopefully that'll change in the next couple days, and we'll get more done.
Pretty close, man.
So I just, I want to be moving some XY drives and, going from there, making sure everything configured and running right.
Yeah, wait till you get your serial number and it's official.
Yep. Once it's official, then she's good to go.
Yeah. Hey, man,
So,
I'm excited for mine. I just came in today, so I haven't even opened the box because I told myself if I open the box, I'm gonna start putting it together. So I might as well hide this from myself for a little bit.
well, if you start putting the frame together, it only takes a few minutes to do the frame. Just remember using blind joints.
I'm just saying,
So,
it'll start with the frame, and then it'll be like I can just put the engines in
remember,
or the motors in.
3 o'clock in the morning is about the normal going time for people who are putting together Vorons. And you don't do well with no sleep.
I come to work tomorrow. I didn't sleep last night. I put it together. It's done.
Yeah, he needs his beauty rest, which obviously from this point forward has not been working.
Yeah, no. I'm hoping that like it has like a compound effect, and like
So
once
by the time
it
you
hits,
hit 50, it'll look like you're back to 20
yeah,
again.
it'll be like bah, and then you just all the wrinkles just suck back in like Botox.
Hey, if you think about it, you just had a company just to figure out how to freaking get a dead pig's brain working again.
There you go. There you go.
Right.
This is not Neuralink.
Thank you for NYU. Okay.
I was gonna say
no thank you for NYU, depending on what we look at.
Yeah.
Next, you know it, we're entering the zombie apocalypse because I got into the water system.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I'm just saying that in an apocalypse, I bet you my 3D printer would be much more valuable.
Probably.
I'd be printing you your parts that you need for whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because there's not manufacturing anymore.
The thing is at least with Klipper, you'll have support.
Yeah, right? And then we could put the silent board on there and you won't alert anybody.
Yeah.
In this hypothetical situation.
Yep. Who knows what's coming?
Yeah.
But, the thing is, get out there and, print something. So,
true.
I think that'll do it for today.
Yeah, we'll probably talk more about Klipper once we get into advanced Klipper.
Yeah, once we get these Vorons done, we'll kind of do a quick recap of the Voron builds.
Maybe we show you the Voron.
Yeah, we'll definitely do a video on it. I'm taking, every day I do something with a printer, I take a picture of it using the camera. Okay. So I kind of keep a daily, and I keep a log book next to me that I write down everything I've done that day. At least the heavy wickets, so I kind of know what I did.
Yeah.
So I keep myself honest with the build I'm doing.
Right.
But, that's it. Hopefully we'll get around to showing you all that, let y'all see that, let y'all experience a little bit of what a Voron is. Most of y'all, if you look on YouTube, you know what a Voron is.
Yeah. If you are a 3D printer enthusiast, you know what a Voron is.
Yep. But, then if you know what a Voron is, you should know what a Klipper is. And hopefully y'all will start playing with that soon. I say thank you for, everything. Thank you for going out and, listening to us ramble. Getting behind some of this stuff, learning new things, and, getting involved. We never thought we'd be where we're at. We never thought we'd be over 1,000 listeners in multiple different countries. I wish I could say thank you in all your languages, but I'm sure I can't. Or at least your native languages, not just English. But I do say thank you. We made it to 1,000. Let's go to 2. And let's keep going and keep climbing, keep learning, staying busy with it. Get out there, learn some Klipper, and have some fun with it. I'll turn it over to John for.
Yeah. So also echo what Nick's saying. It's always, I'm always grateful. It's not every day that you just get to ramble on about a topic that a lot of people may not know much about or don't even care about, and inspire anybody to do something about it or try to learn more about it. So it's definitely one of the best aspects of the podcast is it breeds that knowledge, pushes that, hey, I want you to learn type of ideology, and that's what we need in the world, really. So once again, thank you for everything. Keep tuned, or stay tuned, because there's an ebook I would like to finish at some point, not this year, but at some point next year. It's not going to be very long, but it's going to be a how-to of what to do if you just got your 3D printer and kind of get your feet on the ground. So that would be something that will be coming out probably. I want to say mid next year would be a good timeline for that, but we'll give you updates on those things. We talked about a possible giveaway. We need you guys, if you guys want this giveaway to happen, or you want us to do this event where we're putting the 3D printer inside a vacuum or testing it out to see how it would work and things like that, we need you to comment. We need you to be active on those things, and push for that. Or if you have a better idea than that, Oh shoot, tell us, because
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you, that's
I'm not
pretty
afraid of breaker
interesting.
printer.
Yeah, I'm not afraid. That's why we got the extra printers, right?
Right, we got
So,
plenty of spares.
we got plenty of spares, and I bet you I'm not using my Voron for this, so like it'll be okay. I'll have the baby still.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, stay tuned. Keep your ear to the ground, and yeah, we'll see you around.
Definitely be more out there, and I'm still working on my ebook that I gotta get done.
Yeah, you get some content. So
it's be on MES system, so
yeah, check us out.
Yep. All right, y'all. So y'all have a good one, and
Appreciate it.
See you later. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Tech at Lunch podcast, where we hope you learned something about tech during your break or during your lunchtime. If you did, please give us a follow to prevent missing future episodes. If you have any ideas or something you want to hear or learn about, please send us a show idea to podcast@vulcanara.com. Hope you have a good rest of the day and continue learning.